What's up, guys? KAMIKAZE-FOX coming to you from HTA RL. Hit the Apex Racing League. This is going to be Season 3, Round 4 at Hockenheim. Trying to get my notes straight here. This is the Assists League, and we are coming off of, obviously, Round 3 at Spa, which we'll recap here in just a second. But in the time being, let's run down our driver lineup. I've got Ozone with me in the booth once again. Ozone, looking forward to a race here at Hockenheim. You said one of your favorite tracks.
Yeah, Hockenheim is one of my favourites. A quick lap, not too long, and I recall having a really good league race round. But my last one ended in about 60 seconds, so it wasn't the greatest. And yeah, but it's a good track, and it should be some good action.
Now we'll run down the driver lineup. We have ASDF Kimi in the Alfa Romeo. Sloppy G is going to be rocking the Toro Rosso. Feared by Gaming in the Factory Renault. AB53 Mo in the Haas. V Rita is your championship points leader. He's currently in the Racing Point. Fozzie Wazzie is going to be in the McLaren. Maxi 16 in the Toro Rosso. Epic the Animal in the Factory Renault. Sippy's back in the Williams. PMP try and catch in the Haas. Carbacan in the McLaren. Ben Gallagher is going to be rocking the Mercedes, and he's going to have a reserve teammate today. This is LR Harry. This is Harry Cooper from the International Racing League. We've also got Dan Thompson in the Factory Williams. Arton Senna 1812 is the infamous David Wallbank. He'll be in the Factory Ferrari. Gad is going to be rocking the Red Bull Racing. And championship points contender KCG, currently second in points, is going to be in the other Alfa Romeo. Then we have Harry S200325. I don't know who that is, but that is not to be confused with LR Harry. That is Harry Cooper. So
no, I know Harry. His name is Harry Saunders. He is. I've raced with him a couple of times, and it doesn't help that I'm in the same PlayStation party as him earlier on. But yeah, I do know him. Good mate with Harry, and hopefully he can deliver. He's not slow, but he can be. But he's not going to set the world alight, but he's not the slowest driver you'll ever see.
So Harry S is going to be Harry Saunders, and sounds like he might be a good mid-pack driver heading into today's round. Recapping round 3 back at Spa, Dan Thompson walked away with his first pole position of the season, but unfortunately Dan, the man, had a bit of a frustration in the middle of the race and rage quit, so he would be credited with a DNF and finishing 16th spot. V Rita took home his second win of the season, making it back-to-back with round 2 and round 3s. KCG found himself back on the podium in second spot, and two-time HTA RL champion Q-Tip, who joined us last week, manages to come home with a podium finish. Epic the Animal had a good run to 4th. Kimi was 5th. Khalifa, who is not currently with us today, came home 6th. AB53 Mo was 7th, Carbon Con 8th, Sloppy G was 9th, and Fozzie Wazzie, even though he had a terrible race, managed to come home in 10th, because 11th through 16th was all DNFs. That was Try and Catch, Charlie Sampson, Feared by Gaming, Gad, Maxi 16, and Dan Thompson. And unfortunately, Try and Catch and Maxi have 2 DNFs to their credit so far early on in this season, and Feared by Gaming is batting 1,000. He is 3 for 3. He's been in 3 races, has 3 DNFs, so he'll be looking to try and just finish a race today. So let's talk about race strategy, Ozone, heading into today's Hockenheim race. Let's talk about dry strategy first. What is the optimum tire strategy to go with?
I think the mediums and the hards is definitely one stop. There's a 2-stop way in the mediums and softs, all the way around if you're starting on the softs. I'd say the 1 stop is slightly slower than the 2-stop because you're using the long set of hard tyres instead of the 2 sets of mediums. It's a short pit stop. It's only about 18 seconds long, I think. So for a strategy can come into this. If a safety car is involved, like I've seen in the last 2 races, I think it'd be very interesting to see what drivers will do. I've recalled Max was in a race last week around Germany, and there was a bit of info with anything could happen.
And it's kind of an interesting strategy too, because there's not a lot of tracks on the calendar that where the two-stop is actually faster, but you made a great point that the pit stop delta here is very short, only 18 seconds, where most tracks is somewhere between the 22 and 24 second range. So interesting factor to bring into play here. The two-stop strategy might be the quicker way to go. Now, let's talk about setup, because Hockenheim's kind of a weird track as it is. It's gone through a lot of different variations over the years. It's kind of got a wide track, and then it narrows up in the stadium section, and it's kind of fast and kind of slow. What's a good setup for going into today's race?
Well, for the aerodynamics, it's a little bit interesting. Obviously, you got a little bit of the straights, like at the main straight and the exit turn 1, and down that main straight going into the hairpin. And obviously after the hairpin as well, there's a little straight there as well. But you have to have enough downforce on the car to make it through the last sector, especially the stadium, and obviously the little chicanes and the hairpins that do occur in sector 2. Yeah, again, it should be interesting to see what drivers do around this track. I'd go for about a 4.6 or a 3.5 for the aerodynamics. It should be very interesting to see what drivers do, because everyone is not having the same opinion, and it should be very fun to see if people will be blitzing it down the back straight and suffering in the corners, or will someone have the right mix of downforce and straight line speed to make sure they can get a good lap, especially in qualifying.
Well, certainly going to be an interesting race, and it looks like we've got ourselves another full grid. Actually, it's going to be the first time this season that HTA RL's had a full grid in the assist league. Now, round 1 we had 19 drivers, and the past 2 races we've had 16 drivers, so still good turnout. 20 drivers on today's race, so it should be interesting to see who's going to draw the short straw and possibly be the reason or the cause for a safety car to come out. Despite having so many drivers on grid, we only finished with a handful of them. Now, round 1 we had 19 drivers start the race, only 14 of them finished. Round 2 we had 16 drivers start the race, only 10 of them finished. And then last week again, 16 drivers started the race, but only 10 finished. So should be interesting to see. And it looks like we've got CRG Gamer 62 in the live chat cheering on his buddy Sippy, who's going to be in the Factory Williams today. So it looks like we lost a driver.
I don't know what happened there. I think someone joined, originally clicked the spectate button like what we're supposed to be doing, and then just left. It's a bit of a weird one, but I'll happily take 19 drivers, especially this late in the game cycle. Obviously we don't know about F1 2020 yet, due to this pandemic, whatever that is, but you know, it's a good turnout again for the 3rd week on the trot, and yeah, again, should have some good action.
And we did have Chazmeister 44, that's Charlie Sampson. He was credited with a DNF last week, came home 12th, so he did join. And TC 1392 is going to be in the other racing point, it looks like. So he's joined us late. TC 13 sounds familiar for some reason.
I
want to say TC 13. I want to say he's from GTRL, the GTR Racing League. That's kind of an underground type league. It's just a startup league. They've only done a handful of races, but that TC 1392 does strike me as a little familiar to me.
Yeah,
so here we go. We're going to do an 18-minute short qualifying session followed by a 50% race here at Hockenheim. There you see a nice picture of the stadium section, and then here's the last corner coming out of the stadium section and onto that front stretch. Bit of an interesting track. Again, it's been through a lot of variations through the years. Me personally, I'm very old school. I liked it a lot when it ran through the woods, and it was 200-mile-an-hour straights flat out for long periods of time and a couple of chicanes, but FIA deemed that too dangerous at some point. So
yes, it's a little bit dangerous that, but I actually enjoy the new layout they've done. You know, it's good driving some cracking Grand Prix in the last 2 years, and in real life, and hopefully we can get a little bit of a really good race today, as qualifying is about to start. So we should be interested to see what happens in this qualifying session.
Well, I will say that last year's actual Formula One Grand Prix at Hockenheim was really a lot of fun to watch. It was obviously rain caused a lot of chaos in that. But it's always good to see different drivers run at the front and pick up a podium and finish in the points. Unfortunately, Formula One over the last few years has just been Mercedes, Red Bull, and Ferrari show. Much of the mid-pack battle gets lost in translation. So it was good to see somebody like Kvyat back on the podium and Verstappen walk away with the win.
Yeah, let's not mention the 2018 race because I have to admit I am a Sebastian Vettel fan, so let's not talk about that. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a bit of a kick in the pants for Vettel that day.
But he did himself some justice last year, I have to admit.
So finally getting some drivers out. Looks like KCG is going to be the first one out on his out lap. Looks like he's going to be on the hard tires. We'll go ahead and put up tire info before somebody asks about it.
I think that's just a not a tire banker, a lap banker. Just get a lap on the board. There's some places where you can get incidents. Hairpin for me when I was first starting league racing, I just couldn't get a good exit out of the hairpin. I think this is definitely a banker lap if you're going on the hards. Going on the mediums or the softs, then you're looking at a proper qualifying lap.
And there's only a handful of drivers that have selected the hard tires. KCG, the first one on the out lap, but we've got Sloppy G, also going to be going out on hard. Sippy, AB53 Mo. So a couple of guys are going to try the hard tires, I guess, for, as you say, a banker lap, just get a time on the board, not necessarily their qualifying lap, but going to hop on board with KCG as he heads down into turn one to start the first hot lap of the session.
Oh, and AB53 Mo is into the wall. I think he's lost a big chunk of his front wing at the exit of the final corner. That curb is so tricky to take. And I've done that before. I'm one of those people who have been guilty of that. But that is a disaster start qualifying for 53 mode.
Unfortunate for him, that was the start of a hot lap, so he'll have to come back around and new set of shoes, new front wing, and try it all over again.
Yeah, and that's will have to be.
Go back on board with KCG.
Running very gingerly through turn one. Hello, Harry. Just about avoided him. Going down the straight after turn one. But, yeah, many drivers are on the lap. KCG got to round off his.
So coming through the penultimate corner. Doesn't want to run too wide here. If he goes 4 off, it could invalidate its time. Comes across the line. 1:13.280. And that is set on the hards.
Oh, try and catch a joined the session. He was in the Ferrari last week. This week he's in the Haas. Unless I've missed any driver transfers, I didn't recognise try and catch in the Haas. But, there we are. As Harry Saunders.
Saunders to the top. Wow. 2 seconds quicker, and then Harry Cooper backs it up with a 1:12. David Wallbank 1:12. Sloppy G 1:13.747. So the times are starting to come in.
But both Senna and Harry are both on the soft compound.
And you can really see the time differential there. 1:13.280 for KCG in the hards, and then a 1:11.8 for Harry Saunders. He's actually the only driver right now in the 1:11s. But 2 seconds faster. And Rita, who's your championship points leader, he just came across the line 1:12.5 on the mediums.
Yeah, so he's behind the other mediums runner in Harry, as Dan is following a Haas. As he's exiting in the final corner. I think this is a flying lap. It is Paul.
1:11.735.
I thought he just missed out there with the other Haas in front of him, but that's a very good lap from Dan. It's Pippin, Harry Saunders at the minute for Paul, with only 13 and a quarter minutes left of the session, with only 8 drivers setting laps. So this could be
We're going to pick up Sippy in the Factory Williams. He is heading into the stadium section, it looks like. He's on the hard tires as well. Sippy's been pretty quick. He finished 5th round 1. He did battle for the lead a little bit that race. Last couple of corners, going to head back out on the front stretch. And he comes across the line. No time set. Oh, and he loses the back end, and around he goes into the wall.
Yeah, I just thought that the exit turn 1 again, that curb. Nature of Germany, those curbs, you want to be using them to extend your track, but you don't want to use them too much. And Sippy's one of those people that's been caught out by that curb with the exit turn 1. The amount of times I've done that in a time trial or in a league race is, I've most probably lost count of the amount of times I've done that. But it's such a silly error, but it's such a simple one to make as well. Sippy will be disappointed with that.
And it looks like he might have had some issues on that lap prior to, because his time was invalidated, so he hasn't set a time. Gadd, in the meantime, he's heading into the pits now, but he did come across the line with a 1:12.746. Good enough for 6th so far. Try and catch has gone 1:13.1. He is 7th quickest, and TC13 manages to put up a lap 9th quickest at a 1:13.586. So Sloppy G, 1:13.747, slowest car to set a time so far. Still waiting on a time from the other 10 drivers. Pick up AB53 Mo in the Haas. The yellow flag flies in sector 3.
There's a Ferrari there, but no, it's either Ferrari or Romeo. I think they're just slowing down, either letting someone past or on an outlap. Yeah, not much action. People are coming home doing laps. Only 3 people that are on a flying lap. KSG, one of them was just started. Max, who's in the middle sector, and AB53 Mo, who is in the middle, who's just about to start the last sector.
And Mo is heading into the stadium section.
And Maxi,
1:12.1. Nice job by Maxi 16. Oh, and Carbon Con's retired from the session. Yellow flag, sector 1.
That's at the exit at turn 1. I think he might have called the curb again.
So Mo finally sets a time, 1:14.570. He is now the slowest of the cars to have set a time. Carbon Con's going to be, unfortunately, dead last. We see one of the Mercedes heading out of the pits.
Van Gallagher, who impressed me in Monza, actually. But obviously wasn't good at Belgium last week.
Going to pick up Kimi real quick as he's coming out of the last corner, comes across the line, see if he sets a time. And he is good enough for 9th quickest, 1:13.1. Oh, and Fozzie Wozzie, we pick him up coming out of the last corner, and he's in the gravel. So it looks like he sets his time at a 1:18, but he was doing more lawn cutting than anything else coming out of that last corner.
And the pole setter Dan and the Williams is behind him. So if I was Fozzie, I'd either move out of the way or keep going. He's cut the corner a bit there, and he's gone out of the way. And Harry
look at this, Saunders. Saunders to the top of the chart, 1:11.263. He's a half a second quicker than Dan Thompson.
I wouldn't have thought that. I knew Harry wasn't slow. I knew he was quite quick. But I wasn't expecting him to be in front of Dan by half a second, especially only 9 minutes left to qualify him. Dan is on a lap. Let's see what he can do in response to that. Yeah, either all drivers on.
It looks like Dan's currently 0.2 of a second up over his previous time.
Yeah, that won't be enough for beating Harry. Let's see what he can do in the last sector. Going into the last corner now, nice exit, which it looks like he's got up to the line.
He does improve his time, but not his position. A 1:11.280. Wow, that is close between the top 2 drivers.
A couple of hundredths. And there's Max behind, who's about 9/10 behind Dan, which is a bit unfortunate for the Toro Rosso.
So we're going to pick up Sippy now. Sippy currently 17th classified, hasn't set a time.
Max has run wide to the last corner and done a little Lewis Hamilton from last year's Grand Prix. Completely forgot about the ball had and he just dived into the pits. I don't know if that ruling is in the F1 games, but that's what he's done.
And Ben Gallagher goes 112 flat. Good effort by Gallagher. That's third quickest so far. About 0.2 of a second faster than Maxi 16. We're currently watching Sippy's. He's coming through the penultimate corner. Oh, and AB53 Mo has retired from the session. He's currently classified 14th. And Sippy finally sets a time at a 112.3, fifth quickest. It took him a handful of laps to get it done, but that's a good time and a good effort for him on the medium tires.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a really good lap on those mediums. Depends if you want to go again on the set of softs, or do you want to stay on those mediums and start on those for the Grand Prix. There's only 7 minutes left in this qualifying session. There's plenty of time to go back into the pits, change tyres, and go out again on the softs. So you'll be seeing the rest of the field are all in the pits.
And we're going to pick up Gad, currently in Sector 2. He's on the soft tires.
And
good enough for 10th so far.
Is starting his out lap. I think he started his flying lap. I think he just cut turn 1, which isn't the way you want to start there. Turn 1's very easy to cut. You can either cut it or you can run wide and lose the back end. That's
yeah, turn 1's really tricky around here. We're going to watch Gad come across the line. And he improves his time, and he's up to 7th now with a 112.404. We're going to pick up Rita.
Only about less than 0.3 of a second between Ayrton Senna and 6th, and KCG in 10th. Look how close that is, and maybe even count Sippy in as well. Just over 0.3 between 5th and 10th, respectively.
So really close in the midfield, and those are all soft tires with the exception of Sippy. And Sippy ran a 112.3 on medium tires. That's a great time and a qualifying effort by him on mediums. Currently watching championship points leader Rita in the Racing Point. He's got the softs on. Looks like he might be a little bit off the pace. He actually caught up to some traffic. I'm not sure if he's going to try and stick with the time.
I think he invalidated it at turn 1, I believe. With a car in front of him.
So, no time set that time. Oh, and he's very quick coming out of turn 1. We'll hop on board with him as he heads down into turn 2.
Hello, Harry. You mentioned him. He's got to start a flying lap. We've only 5 minutes left of the session. As well as KCG, who's in the following sector. Sector 1, I believe that is one of the McLarens. That's Fozzie, who's done in P16.
He does improve his time from a 118 to a 115, but still slowest on track.
And that's a very good little sector from attempted leader. If he can run this off.
Currently riding on board with him. He's heading through the last sector now, last couple of corners. Back out on the front stretch. Rita's going to come across the line. Improves his time, 111.335. Good enough for third. And that is a good effort right there. And Ben Gallagher's just come on the live chat and told us that there's rain in the forecast for the start of this race. So the great equalizer is going to show its ugly face, which is a common theme here at Hockenheim.
I just hope it dries up to the end, near the end. There's some really quick drivers as try and catch. Breaks into the woman at 11s with a 111.8, and Ella Harry's on the pole by 1,000th of a second.
Harry Cooper. 111.262 versus Harry Saunders 111.263, and this is a Harry and Harry show with 3:30 left to play in the qualifying session.
Yeah, both impressive laps. That's how close it is in Formula 1 nowadays. 1,000th of a second.
Now Dan Thompson's gone 111.280. That's good enough for third now. He's going to drop Rita down to fourth. KCG is up to 5th. Try and catch is 6th. Pick up Maxi 16, currently in the 8th spot. Yellow flag sector 3. And looks like Maxi's invalidated his time. Sippy's got an invalidated time.
Sloppy G just starting his lap. We're going through to turn 1. Runs a little bit wide and he's just invalidated that. Well, I was looking forward to seeing what he could do, and he's let it all go on after one corner. Waiting for drivers now as Max is retired from the session. Very interesting one. He was running up in 3rd, now he's down to P8. He might not even feature in the top 10 with the track evolution on this track, as Sippy is just invalidated. It looked like a bit of an incident there for Max. I saw a Park Toro Rosso, the exit at turn 1.
We got a lot of guys diving into the pits here at the last minute.
I think everyone wanting to change some tyres, the new set of tyres on. We're going out.
Still got 2 drivers that have yet to set a time. We've got Feared by Gaming, who's currently in Sector 1, and Chasmeister in the other Red Bull, I believe. He is, that's Charlie Sampson. He's yet to even come out on track, to my knowledge. Now, Feared by Gaming set a purple Sector 1.
No, I don't think it was. I think it either some glitch in the lobby. I think he's a little bit behind in Sector 1. I don't think that was the purple Sector 1 compared to what the 2 Harrys have set. He goes into Sector 2.
One's a little wide coming out of that right-hander.
Talking to the Harrys, Harry Saunders in the middle sector. See what he can do.
Ooh, Feared by Gaming is playing a dangerous game with the car control and running wide. He's getting very close. He had the right side tires off in the grass and invalidated his time, and he's going to dive into the pits at the last moment.
After the end of this qualifying session, he won't be getting out again. There's not enough time.
We're going to pick up Harry Saunders in the Ferrari. And it looks like Feared by Gaming knows that ruined his qualifying efforts. He's retired from the session.
We ran a little bit wide for the last 2 corners there.
Saunders, 1:11 flat. Unbelievable time by Harry Saunders, 1:11.0.
Now we are talking about good lap times. That's very impressive. He thinks that's enough.
0.2 of a second up on Harry Cooper. Harry Cooper is currently on an outlap. We're going to pick him up because he's getting ready to finish this outlap. Harry Cooper, we're going to hop on board with him. And Cooper is going to try and make a last-ditch effort here to try and see if he can snatch away that pole position. Heads down into turn 1. He cut that very wide. And, oh! Harry Cooper has just had a massive off. And that's an accident. So Harry Cooper will be done. We'll pick up Dan Thompson.
Ooh. Up to P2. 100th off.
100th of a second.
Oh, it's carnage. Oh dear. A bit of an incident there with a few cars all crashing at turn 1.
Rita is 72 thousandths of a second up on his previous time. That's not nearly going to be enough to try and improve his position. He's going purple sector 2.
See what he can do going into the last 2 corners. Going into the final corner now, and there's a good exit from here. I'm going to touch much of the curb.
He's going to come across the line.
Doesn't improve by 1,000th of a second off his time. Still a couple of other
try and catch. Looks like Try and Catch has had an off here at the.
Ben Gallagher down in P9. He'll be the last driver, I believe, to set a lap in this qualifying session.
Gallagher's going to come across the line. He ran 1:11.6. Good enough for 9.
Still in P9. Well, it was a very eventful qualifying session, I have to admit.
So here we go. Harry Saunders, followed by Dan Thompson, and then Harry Cooper. Rita going to be starting in 4th. KCG starting 5th. Those are your 2 championship contenders right now. TC13 is 6th. Try and Catch 7th. Sippy is 8th. Ben Gallagher 9th. David Wallbank is 10th. Maxi 16th. 11th. Kimmy is 12th. Gad 13th. Epic Animal 14th. Sloppy G is 15th. Chaz Meister finally sets a time at a 1:13.893, only good enough for 16th. AB53 Mo is 17th. Fozzie Wazzy 18th. And rounding out your 20 drivers is going to be Feared by Gaming, who set no time, and Carbon Con, who had a crash early on in the qualifying session, will be starting at the rear of the field.
Yeah, I think Max will be particularly pleased with that qualifying session. I know down in P11, as he was running up in the top 3 at one point, but when he crashed, obviously he would be in P11 with new tyres if the heavens didn't open, but he'd be disappointed now with that P11. If it was a dry race, he'd be absolutely jumping for joy, but because of the weather, he won't be.
So now the race strategy will obviously change at this point between wets or intermediates. It looks like it's not raining hard enough for full wets. And then it's also going to be a gamble as if the racing line starts to make an appearance, will somebody, who's going to take the advantage of trying to switch over to slicks? So we're waiting for the game to reset the grid. We'll do the formation lap.
Kimmy has put in the chat, rain. I don't think he's particularly pleased with the weather conditions for this one, but this makes the Grand Prix more exciting. Like we've seen in real life, this should be a really, really good Grand Prix as the formation lap gets underway.
So here we go with the running order. Harry Saunders gets the pole position, making his HTA RL debut here in the Assists League. He's going to be followed by Dan Thompson, who's proven to be very quick this year, but also a little bit of a hothead. We'll see if he can stick with it and stay in the game. Harry Cooper from IRL, the International Racing League F2 Series, is going to be running in the Assist League now for HTRL as well. He's a reserve driver starting in the Mercedes. A good qualifying effort from him starting in third. He's got Rita, your championship points leader, starting behind him in fourth. Casey G, championship points contender, second in points actually, starting in fifth. TC 1392 from GTR is going to be starting in the sixth spot. Try and Catch is going to be starting in seventh. And Sippy, who had a rough qualifying session, he's going to try and work his way through the field a little bit, see if he can put some points on the board for the Williams team today. And Ben Gallagher is going to be in the Mercedes. The Mercedes A driver, for what it's worth, is starting in the eighth spot, while the reserve is starting in third. So things could change here at the Mercedes camp. And David Wallbank, another reserve driver, is going to be starting in 10th. Now, Maxi 16, you talked about a couple minutes ago, starting all the way down at 11th. Kimmy, who was not prepared for the rain, starting in 12th. Gad is going to be in the 13th spot. And Epic the Animal going to be starting in the 14th spot in the factory Renault, followed by Sloppy G in the 15th spot. Chaz Meister, that's Charlie Sampson, going to be in the Toro Rosso. In the Red Bull, starting in 16th. AB53 Mo, who crashed out at the end of qualifying, is going to be 17th. Fozzie Wazzy, coming off of a rough go last time out, but he did manage to put a point on the board, finishing 10th, is going to be starting the 18th spot. And Feared by Gaming, he's got 3 DNFs so far this year in 3 rounds. He's going to be looking to just finish the race. And Carbon Con is going to be looking to make up for not being able to set a time in qualifying as he crashed out early on. That is going to make up your 20 drivers in today's 34-lap Grand Prix. Any predictions heading into this race?
Well, I can see the top 2 could easily just pull away and storm to victory. I can see Max pulling around the field as well, but you can't forget P4 and P5, Rita and KCG, as well as LR Harry in the Mercedes. The lights about to come on now.
So we're waiting on the 5 red lights.
5 lights.
And Kimmy gets a drive-through for jumping to start. The lights are out. It's time to run what you brung. And look at this. The Toro Rosso, Maxi, all the way to the front of the field. And I believe he jumped the start, so that's going to be a penalty.
Yeah, Max jumped the start. Dan's overtaking Harry for P2, which is technically the lead. Be careful. Dan gets in front.
We've got a lot of shuffling going on in the back. They're 3 wide coming out of turn 2. KCG struggling, lost the spot already. He's still right behind Rita, though. Rita and KCG both lose a spot.
Yeah, to the positive start on the Red Bull, overtaking Sippy with hairpin time.
Looks like Ben Gallagher's going to try and go deep to the inside. And they're 3 wide hanging in the hairpin. And Gallagher's lost a couple spots himself. And a lot of shuffling going on in the back.
Little scraps already forming in the midfield as Gad looks for the inside. TC pushes him a bit wide.
TC pushes him wide.
Go on the outside, cuts back in, and Tippy should get the move done as Gad runs extremely wide to the exit.
Gad tucks back in line, but right behind him they're shuffling. It's Ben Gallagher and Try and Catch. Oh, and there's contact and bits of wing flying around. And here comes Try and Catch in the Haas. He's going to dive to the inside of Epic the Animal. Epic trying to hang on to that spot.
As Max is staying out. He's got 3 laps to serve his drive for it. Maybe just wants to stay out and enjoy the moments of being in a lead. As Dan is behind him, as well as Harry. There's 1.6 covering the top 3 alone. And will Harry look for a move on them as Gad and Kimmy both in the pit at the end of lap 1? With the various incidents is.
Oh, and Fozzie Wazzie is retired from the session.
I couldn't get the word incidents out, and Fozzie's just retired, which is a bit of a disappointment.
And again, that's at that treacherous turn 1, and we've got ourselves a safety car. So now's the time. Maxie should serve his penalty as quickly as he possibly can.
I can't remember the ruling, but I can't remember if you're allowed to serve penalties under the safety car.
Oh, that's a good point.
I can't remember if that's...
So Maxie, your leader, that is an inconsequential lead because he's going to have to pit and serve that drive-through penalty at some point for jumping the start. Jumped it big time, and it's really odd. Usually when you see somebody jump the start, they go and they stop, but Maxie stayed in it and just went right up the middle of the field.
Yeah, he nearly collected Harry Saunders in the Ferrari. Looked like he lost the back end from the start, and Max was charging through the field.
It also probably caught those 2 front runners off guard as you see this car blast through the middle of you, at full song, knowing that the lights just went out. So definitely probably caught them off guard a little bit.
Yeah, it's a safety car. So the exit of the turn 2 and 3 chicane. After the confusion a couple of weeks ago, I think it was that car, but it is the safety car.
Yeah, it would be the safety car heading out of the hairpin. We've got Try and Catch, Feared by Gaming, and Gad. Look like they all pitted, probably for some slight wing damage, I would imagine. And Try and Catch and Feared by Gaming are going to drop all the way to the back of the field.
But they'll have time to catch up. Obviously, with only Max now catching up with the safety car. So it should be a very interesting restart when they restart the race. Obviously, there's a few other drivers set ready to catch up. And the top 15 are all there. Gad is just behind AB53 Remote. And there's Kimmy, who's just starting to go down this back straight.
So what a way to start a race.
So it's my 100% success safety car ratio continues for a 3rd week. Which, nothing wrong with it, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but, it's nice to cool down a little bit from the hectic race start, especially for Max, who jumped the start.
Feared by Gaming is retired from the session. Oh, no!
Unless he's gone onto the curb, maybe inside the net.
And once again, we've got some incidents under the safety car. We've seen this all too often this year. Seems like every safety car scenario that we've had, somebody's had an off or picked up a penalty in the safety car conditions, which is really just odd to me. So we started with 20 cars, we've only made a couple of laps, and we've already lost 2. And around goes the Ferrari, and that's Saunders, and he's dropping through the field.
I think he's going to be at the back because he's about to knock, just about avoid the DRS sign as PNP trying.
So Harry Saunders, that is really disappointing. And a 5-second time penalty for TC13 picking up because exceeding the track limits. Again, careless mistakes. And F1 fan Red Bull 22 has joined. Haven't seen him since week 1.
And Try and Catch has gone onto the full wet weather tyres. He is one of these people that's risking it. As well as, I do want to give a quick shout out to For Salty Story Racing on the live stream. He says hi, so we'll say hi back.
Hello.
Good evening.
So just to try and recap, Maxie 16 is your leader, but he jumped the start, so he's got a drive-through that he needs to serve the penalty for. Dan Thompson was battling for the lead with Harry Saunders, but Saunders spun, as we saw a couple seconds ago, in the Ferrari. So Saunders is technically your leader of this race. He's got Harry Cooper behind him, and we've got more going on in the back. It looks like Ben Gallagher's had an issue.
I don't think he anticipated everyone braking early going into that corner. He's just lost position to Epic as the safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. So here we are, we're about to get a restart, and it should be radiant in the sea. What happens up in front, especially in the midfield? Will Harry Saunders get a couple of nice overtakes done on this opening lap of the restart?
So I want to watch Carbon Con and Try and Catch, because they made their pit stops and they switched over to full wets. It does look like the intensity on the rain has picked up a little bit, so see if the full wets garner them any pace versus the intermediates. You see some of these guys have obviously struggled under the safety car on the intermediates.
And Max is going immediately into the pits. I think that's the service drive-through. So Dan will be in the lead as they start lap 5 at 34. So everyone's going to gain a free spot, I believe. And there's already been a little bit of a gap. I think this is AB53 Mo. Harry's having a look at Gad going to turn 1 with the leaders. Not much change as Max rejoins down in P18 and last place. So everyone's crossed up and bunched. So we're looking forward to seeing some overtake down the straight as Ritter in the racing point having a look at Harry in the Mercedes going into the hairpin. Will the racing point go for the move down the inside?
He's got the inside line, trying to get the power down, coming back out.
Harry's still there.
They're side by side coming out of the corner. Cooper's going to try and stick with them, but he's going to have to give the spot away. Reed is eventually going to take second spot. And now your championship points leader has moved his way up into the second spot. One of the Williams is off. That's Sippy in the background. He ran wide.
And that in center, 18-12.
Cutting back in, so that's going to move Wallbank in the Ferrari up to the 5th spot.
And Ben Gallagher's taking a little bit of a spin. He's lost a little bit of his front wing. I think that's Dan as well.
Trying to pick him up.
Has lost the lead to Ritter, and the championship leader is in the lead of the Grand Prix, as well as Chad Meister.
And there is a lot of action going on in the back.
And the Red Bull, who hasn't got any front wing, wants helping for the stadium section. As we start lap 6, Dan will be disappointed we're losing the lead of the Grand Prix.
Chad Meister has lost some of his wing. And Ben Gallagher dives into the pits. So a lot of shuffling going on in this restart. The intensity of the rain has definitely picked up. Some of the guys getting called out on it. Try and Catch and Carbicon on the full wets have managed to move up to the 14th and 15th spot because of the spins and pit sequence. So you've got 3 cars in the pits now. That's Gallagher, Epic, the Animal, and Chaz Meister. Charlie Sampson had to dive back in. And looks like we've got KCG making a move on Harry Cooper.
I don't think Harry will give up on this though, as they go into the little pin which follows the hairpin. I think he'll have to give up now.
Cooper has to concede, and he almost lost the back end. That was very close.
Still in the lead. Will Dan fight back and get the overtake? 6 tenths of a second is gap. Obviously no DRS in the Wet River Grand Prix. It's Harry and Max who are quite down there at the start of the race. Obviously Max had to take his drive-through penalty, and Harry spun the lap before the safety car came in. Harry up to 10th while Max is in P12. Which is a very good restart for the pair, as well as Gads, who's up into P9, and Sloppy G as well, who's in P8. As the leaders start lap 7 out of 34.
And Dan is still 7 tenths of a second back from Rita. He's not able to make a move. He's not nearly close enough as they head through turn 1. Getting a little bit of separation now between the top 3 drivers. You fall back and you've got Harry Cooper starting to get some pressure from David Wallbank in the Ferrari.
Gad run wide, and Harry's kindly said thank you very much and has overtaken him for P9. Harry is a man on a mission. He wants to get up into the top places.
Saunders trying to make up for that mistake that he had underneath the safety car conditions when he spun the car.
And his next target is Sloppy G. He's Try and Catch is in the pits again.
Looks like Try and Catch is going to switch over to the intermediate, so maybe the full wets are not garnering him the advantage that he thought it would. Carbon Con's going to be the only driver now left out on the full wets.
I think the wet tyres have failed him.
Meanwhile, Sippy is closing in on the backside of David Wallbank for the 5th spot.
There's the leaders all running in single file. No one close enough to make an overtake.
Wallbank is closing in on Harry Cooper. So we've got a 3-car battle. This is 4th, 5th, and 6th. Harry Cooper, Arden Senna 1812, that's David Wallbank, and then Sippy is in the Williams. Running 4th, 5th, and 6th closest to each other, and Rita has started to check out on Dan Thompson. He's almost back behind a second now. Behind Rita, your championship points leader.
So I might get a look at him the exit of this chicane.
And Maxi's looking to make a move on AB53 Mo. This is going to be for the 11th spot, so Maxi trying to make up for having to serve that drive-through penalty where he jumped the start of this race.
And Harry is behind Sloppy G for P8 as well. And yeah, a little bit of a moment at the back end going through the chicane.
When Wallbank picks up a 3-second time penalty.
There's a bit of contact here. I think Sippy's lost a little bit of his front wing. And yeah, there's some debris at the exit of the hairpin. I don't know whose debris
and it does look like he's lost both end plates on that Williams front wing. So he's going to be struggling for downforce and have a lot of understeer. You've already got a lot of understeer that you have to deal with because of the wet conditions. And now that he's lost those end plates, he's going to be struggling to keep TC13 behind him.
Yes, Max did get the move done on the half of the B53 Mo. As Harry is all over the back of Sloppy G going into the stadium section. Meanwhile, the championship leader is 1.4 seconds in front of Dan now. He's pulled the gap a little bit in the last couple of laps as he just set the fast lap of the Grand Prix.
And Sippy's going to dive into the pits and hand over that position to TC13. He's going to fall through the field. So we're going to pick up Harry Saunders, who is all over the back of Sloppy G in the Toro Rosso. And Saunders trying to make up for that mistake that he made early on. Now Maxi's going to move himself into the points, finally getting up into the top 10 and get a championship points score there if he can finish there. But a lot of mistakes early on in this race. Maxi, Harry Saunders, and obviously feared by Gaming and Fozzie Wazzie, both who crashed out.
Yeah, it's the nature of Germany as well as the wet weather tyres. That doesn't help. Well, the intermediate tyres, actually. The wet weather doesn't help at all.
Oh, and Harry loses the back end a little bit coming out of the hairpin, trying to get the power down. Saves it, but he's going to lose a little bit of time. He's hard on the brakes heading into that left-hander. Really closed up the gap.
I think it won't be long until we see Ferrari up into P7 and gaining inroads on TC1392.
Looks like Sippy's making a move on Ben Gallagher to pick up the 14th spot. This is Sippy coming out of the pits. New front wing, new set of shoes. And he's off to the races to see if he can get himself back into the points. Saunders, meanwhile, still trying to work on the backside of Sloppy G, but Sloppy just picked up a 3-second time penalty, so benefit's going to go to Harry Saunders. Oh, but Saunders cuts that corner big time. Oh, no! Sloppy looks like he might have gotten some help. That's going to be very close to call.
As in other news, KCG's catching up and he's all over the back of them.
And we have a virtual safety car because of Sloppy G's incident.
He's stopped that battle. I was looking at that before I took a little squint at what was happening with Harry. And, a bit unfortunate for KCG there, but the safety car's definitely helped Dan. But big, massive unfortunate for Sloppy G there.
So it was hard to tell from the angle that I had. I don't know for sure, but it looked like Sloppy might have had a little bit of help from Harry getting turned coming out of the turn 1 complex. Harry took that corner very tight, would have definitely given him a warning or invalidated a lap time for sure if it was qualifying, but he might have given him a little bit of help by accident coming out of that corner. And Sloppy nosed into the wall big time, so another DNF. We've lost 3 cars now. We're on lap 10 of 34. So we'll do a little bit of a grid reset here, and it looks like it's going to be back to green flag racing. So Rita is your leader as he's coming across the line. Dan Thompson running in second, and he's got KCG all over the back of him. KCG's actually got some wing damage on the right front. The end plate's completely missing on that car. So he's not going to be able to stick with Thompson for very long, I wouldn't imagine.
Meanwhile, there's another scrap for P14. Harry there and Senna. Senna is having a look at him through the back straight. As Sippy is overtaking Capricorn to the wet tyres. There's no help. The McLaren driver, one pit down to P13.
So back to the battle for fourth. Here goes
Ben Gallagher. Oh, and Capricorn's round. I think he's trying to go into the pits. And he's being collected by Ben Gallagher as try and catch overtakes him up into P14 as they go through turn 1.
And that was the yellow flag at sector 3. We pick up Ben Gallagher now back into the 15th spot. He's going to dive to the inside of try and catch. He thought about it, and he thinks twice. So Carbon Con has gone in the pits. We'll see if he switches over from the full wets. He does throw intermediates back on the car, and Ben Gallagher just picked up a time penalty. So the action has been just non-stop since the start of this race. A lot of position swapping.
He's still alive.
Yep, David Wallbank still trying to find a way around Harry Cooper. Now these guys are a little bit familiar with each other from their IRL days. Cooper still racing in the F2 series in IRL. David Wallbank has subsequently been banned from that league for on-track actions. So we'll see if he's changed his behavior at all. He gets a good run coming down to the inside. Looks like he thought about it and then tucks back in line. And now he's going to take a look heading down into turn 2. He's got the inside line. Not going to be close enough to make a move. See if he can get the power down coming out of 2 and into 3 and then down this long straightaway. And this is going to be your best passing opportunity heading down into the hairpin.
Yeah, one of the better overtaking spots. You can make some if you want to make some overtakes. So you'll be having a look here. As Epic the Animal sets fast after the Grand Prix at 24-3. But Harry does well to fend him off, round outside.
Good move by Harry Cooper to try and defend that spot and get that power down early. David Wallbank still struggling to find some grip on them intermediates. And it looks like these guys are actually catching KCG. KCG has fallen off of his battle for second with Dan Thompson because of that wing damage.
Unless KCG's either suing the RS, yeah, you did say that he has picked up labour wing damage, which won't help, especially on these this track in this weather conditions.
And these two are actually closing in on KCG relatively quickly, and KCG is going to stay out for another lap. Nope, he's diving into the pits now, so this becoming a battle for fourth is now the battle for third. The last spot on the podium, and Wallbank has lost a little bit of time coming out of that last corner. So Harry Cooper able to pick up the pace just a little bit. Oh, but he runs very wide coming out of turn 1. That's going to allow Wallbank to close back up as they head down into turn 2.
And KCG rejoining the field, I'd say maybe just behind. Or just
Hop on board with Wallbank. Wallbank's getting really close. It looks like he's thinking about making a move to the inside again on Harry Cooper. He's got him going into the braking zone. They're side by side. Harry Cooper's got it. Crossover move by Cooper over Wallbank.
Oh, and the switchbacks worked wonderfully for Harry, but there as KCG rejoins in P9. Will Ayrton Senna go for a look down the inside? No, he will not. It's a very good defensive move. Well, and the re-attacking move by Harry. The counter-attack there with a switchback.
And look at this Wallbank to the inside again.
This could
side by side heading through here. This gets very narrow here at the stadium section. Good move by David Wallbank to take over the third spot. That is a dangerous move, and he got it done.
That's a fantastic move, especially that corner. I don't see many of that in real life or in the F1 game. As Dan in the Williams goes up into the pit lane, so I will promote these two into P2 and P3. But Harry as well dives into the pits of the Mercedes crew, as well as Harry Saunders in the Ferrari. This is where you normally see drivers go into the pit lane. And, Max as well as TC1392 picks up a 3-second time penalty.
He just picked up the third spot and then picked up a 3-second time penalty to boot. Gadd is now up in the fourth. And, from a driver's perspective, we see a lot of these guys now, lap 13, 14, starting to pit. But the intermediate's starting to wear out at this point. Except for a little bit of traction loss.
Yeah, the intermediates can't last a full Grand Prix unless you're doing a 25% race. But remember this stage of the Grand Prix, they normally wear depends if drivers want to make another pit stop or not near the end of the Grand Prix, like lap 27, lap 28, to see to pit again, put on a new set of tyres and blitz it for the last couple of laps, or do they hold out on these tyres, old rubber, and hope for the best. But Champ to bleed very controlled since he's been in the lead of the Grand Prix, and he's staying out yet another lap. I think he's trying to make his tyres last as long as possible as he starts lap 15 out of 34, as Kimi in the Alfa Romeo pits in the second time penalty.
So Rita might be trying to hold out, see if these skies clear up a little bit. It looks like the rain has, the intensity's lightened up a little bit.
But Harry's having a look at AB53 mode going into the little hairpin style corner in the last sector, and he's got to move down the inside. Very impressive from the Ferrari driver, who's up back into the P8. And he's chasing KTG, who's just at the fast lap of the Grand Prix, around about 5 seconds behind.
Oh, look at this. Maxi's lost out. He's going to go around Kimi. So Maxi's up into the 10th spot, and he just picked up a 3-second time penalty, cutting that turn 1, a very tricky turn 1.
As Dan in P5 is looking to catch up. Gad's in the Red Bull, as Ben Gallagher in the Mercedes picks up penalty, but Harry in the Mercedes.
Oh, and LR Harry.
Out.
And that's a shame. Harry Cooper running in
really
the
well.
6th spot. We'll see if he can rejoin the session and retake control of that car, but it looks like he's about to lose the spot out to KCG. So that's big news.
And it won't be long until Harry Saunders will overtake him, because the RI car is considerably slower than the real driver.
And we picked up Rita again. Rita is still out on track, starting his 15th circuit, or 16th circuit, I should say, around this track. David Wallbank running in second behind him, 12 seconds behind. TC13 running in third. He's 5.5 seconds behind David Wallbank. Gad is running in the 4th spot, and he's getting pressure from Dan Thompson as they come across now.
Yeah, some drivers might be better than others, especially with tyre wear. This graph for P4 should be very interesting indeed. Gad goes defensive, Dan will look to go around the outside.
And Dan is obviously on the much fresher tires, and a power move by Dan Thompson on the outside.
On the outside.
And Dan Thompson on the fresher intermediates goes around the outside power move. But here comes Gad back to the inside. And they're side by side heading down into the hairpin. Gad's going to try and outbrake him. Oh, but he cuts it very close, and he's going to have a 3-second time penalty because he cut that corner way too tight. Dan gets the power down, and he's off and gone. 4th spot to Dan Thompson now. Now, Dan Thompson is the first driver on track with the freshest tires. He's only got 2 laps on those intermediates. The top 3 have yet to pit. We're going to pick up Rita. Rita is coming around, and he's going to stay out again. And Rita, he's extending his lead now over David Wallbank. It was 12 seconds last time by. It's not going to be 12.5 this time by. So Rita's not lost any time on those intermediates, considering how many laps he's got on them. And Harry Cooper's rejoined the session now. Cooper's car is currently down in the 8th spot, 3.5 seconds behind Harry Saunders in 7th. So Cooper, who was battling it out earlier this race for the top spot in the 3rd spot, had a bit of an internet issue, so he's back in control of his car. Gad having a really good run into 5th. We just saw him get passed by Dan Thompson, but he's got 16 laps on those intermediate tires. We're now halfway through this race. KCG, your second in points, championship contender, running in the 6th spot. Saunders, who put up an impressive time in qualifying to start on the pole position. And it looks like Harry Cooper's car is no longer a AI car or Ghost. He's got control over it again. Maxi 16 right behind him, though. Maxi running in 9th. And he's got a lot of work to do to try and make up for that. He jumped the start of this race, and CarbonCon has left the session. Now his car has not left, so it looks like we've got a pass here for the 11th spot. And Maxi and Harry go side by side coming out of the hairpin. They seem to have lost Ozone. Hopefully he'll come back here in a moment as we continue to watch this battle for the 8th spot. Harry Cooper trying to fend off Maxi 16. Not sure if Ozone had to step aside or he's having headset issues. But look at this, Maxi 16 all over the back of Harry Cooper in the Mercedes. And into the stadium section here, it gets very narrow. And it looks like Rita... Oh, Rita has retired from the session. Your points leader, he's going into the pits, and it looks like he tried to put on softs. And I don't know that was... I don't think he meant to do that. And Carbon Gun has rejoined the session, so I don't know what happened to Rita.
I don't know what happened. I got called by a family member of mine to go downstairs. I'm out of breath now after running all the way back up, but it looks like I've missed a lot.
So Rita dived into the pits. It looks like he was switching over to softs. I don't think he meant to do that. And possibly retired, possible rage quit. I don't know if he crashed out. But Rita, your championship points leader, is done. And now David Wallbank has taken over the top spot. And he's got a 6.5 second lead over Dan Thompson. But Wallbank still has to pit. He's got 17 laps on those intermediate tires as he continues to make his way around this track. And he runs very wide heading into the stadium section.
This is a big almighty train for P5 here. Harry, who looks like he's back in the session with Max, Sippy, Gad.
Yes, Harry has rejoined. Maxie is now running in the 6th spot. Sippy behind him. Gad in 8th. So 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, all running relatively close together. And then TC13 closing in on Epic the Animal to take over the 9th spot.
Yeah, Zettensen carries on for another lap. On lap 19 of this Grand Prix, it's a fair amount of distance he's done. Maybe he's trying to extend these intervals for a long time so he'll be fresh near the end of the Grand Prix compared to Dan. And KCG, we've hit even earlier than Dan, as well as Harry, who's in P4, recovered well after his little spin on the safety car. But it should be a very interesting Grand Prix. I do apologise for not being on mic for a couple of laps. I got called to do something.
And here we go to the inside. Look at this, Maxie trying to make a move on Harry Cooper. And try and picks up a 3-second time penalty. Maxie wasn't close enough to make the move heading down into turn 2.
Overtake, I think he's ruined the chances. Not the greatest of exits. Maybe a little opportunity for Sippy behind, or will Max get the move done?
I don't think he's going to be close enough.
No, Sippy's not close enough. Max isn't close enough either.
It looks like TC13's making a move on Epic the Animal for the 9th spot.
And I think...
And they're side by side coming out of the hairpin. Now who's going to play chicken? Around the outside, Epic defends the spot and hangs on to the 9th place.
I think Harry's struggling here in P5. He might have a little bit of loss of the back end. As Ettensen is still out on the set of intermediates. Carrying on for another lap.
I cannot believe how far David Wallbank is going on those intermediates, running in that top spot. That is really, really impressive. And Rita has officially left the session. I think that was a botched pit strategy, and I think he knew it was going to ruin his race, and I think he might have just called it a day.
I think Ettensen could join either in P5, or he could join down in P8 or P9 even. It depends how close the gap is between these lot as when he pits. The gap between the top two is down to 5.1 seconds. Can the Ferrari driver hold on to as long as he can, makes a pit stop, and fight back to overtake.
It looks like Ben Gallagher is going to try and switch over to medium tires, as is AB53 Mo. So it looks like we've got some drivers going to try and gamble and pit early for some slicks.
Oh, and Ben Gallagher's just lost the back end next to the pit lane there. Oh,
I was going to say, I think it might be a little too early for that.
Out.
Oh, and Mo.
Too early for dry weather condition tyres.
And then we got the safety car. We just saw AB53 Mo at the exit of pit road.
This will help Ettensen going into the pits now. It's a free pit stop, but Dan will be joining them as well.
The question is does anybody gamble and try and stay on the intermediates? And it looks like David Wallbank in the Ferrari is going to switch over to the medium tires.
I think it's too early, as you've seen with 53 Mo, but the track looks to be drying up.
Well, you know what? I think under these conditions, I think under the safety car, you could probably get away with it. It looks like a lot of guys are going to be switching over to the medium tires. I think under safety car conditions, because you're not pushing the car, you could probably get out on the mediums, because the track looks like it is drying, but it might be another lap or two before you can really go full song and try and put the power down.
Gad is sticking out on his intermediate tyres, as well as TC1392.
And that's going to move Gadd into the 4th spot, TC13 up to the 6th spot. Everybody else has dumped off their intermediates and put on the medium tires. And look at this, Chasmeister, Charlie Sampson picking up 5-second time penalty, speeding into the pit lane. So this race has definitely gotten a little bit more interesting, and you can still see some of the spray coming off of the cars, so the track is still a little bit wet.
Yeah, the track is still damp, but it looks like to be drying up considerably over the last few laps. Obviously 53 mode just couldn't handle it, and went straight into the wall that's coming out. Ben Gallagher, when he came out, he looked at a little loose moment at the back end, then moments later moves out. We're seeing if the conditions don't improve. It's interesting to see the restart whatever happens, as the drivers are quite spread out in fairness. So they should be going on the next lap, and maybe even the lap 23 as well. Maybe restart for the start of lap 24. There's only 2 out of the top. Well, only 2 runners.
And Wallbank is pitting again. What is going on here?
Here's another set of mediums. Bit of an interesting one.
I'm a little confused by that. Wallbank, he had the mediums on, he was leading the race.
He was in the lead. That's a bit of an interesting one, unless it's Drivera. Max is in the pits as well, which is a bit of an interesting one.
So yeah, this really becomes interesting now, because now you have Dan Thompson 3rd in points. He's going to be starting in the top spot under the once we go green again. We've got KCG, who's that one. Arton Senna, that's 18. That's David Wallbank. He said, "What did it box me for?" It looks like the game boxed him.
That's a bit of a weird one. I've never heard that one before.
I have never seen that one.
Max is risking it on a set of softs tyres. He's pitted, come out in P14, left to join up with the rest of the pack.
Kimmy's also on the soft tires. So Dan Thompson and KCG can really take advantage here of Rita having crashed out earlier on in this race, or retiring from this race. Gadd is on the intermediate tires along with TC13, and I don't think those two are going to be able to stick with the rest of these cars on dry tires. Because the amount of laps that we've run under caution now, the track looks like it's fairly dry at this point.
But there's still spray on the on Gadd's screen. There's still spray on the Gadd's POV. Well, I'm on board with him now in the last sector, but the track looks nearly as dry. See what the 2 winter runners do. Gadd is going into the pits.
If Gadd's going to dive into the pits, I wonder if he'll switch over to the mediums or the softs. So really unfortunate now for a 5-second time penalty for TC13 speeding into the pit lane. Gadd switches over to the medium tires. Sippy 5-second time penalty speeding into the pit lane.
So should be very interesting restart.
Oh, and it looks like oh, look at that. That's unfortunate. Gadd, he did the same thing AB53 mode did. He tried putting the power down coming out of the pits and into the wall. He's broken the right front end plate off of his wing. He'll have to pit again for wing damage.
Oh, and that is tire catch. He spun it on the not completely dry track yet.
And there's a little bit of contact, and now Gadd got pushed wide.
Bless me.
And again, we talked about this last safety car. A lot of mistakes being made under the safety car conditions.
TC13 picks up another 5-second time penalty, this time for ignoring yellow flags. Really interesting one, and it depends. No, I think the safety car will be coming out one more lap.
Yeah, unfortunately, until these guys can get their everything situated. And now Gadd seems to be taking his frustration out on the road signs. So the safety car is going to be in this lap. So this is about to get really, really messy, I think.
It depends if the top two can keep it clean as well as Harry. The rest should follow suit. It's F1 League race at the end
The
of the
top
day.
5 drivers are some really fast and really aggressive drivers. It'll definitely be interesting to see the battles that take place between these guys. We're going to pick up Dan Thompson, your leader. Casey G second in points. And Harry Saunders making his HTA RL debut. And we are back to green flag racing. They're going to head down into turn 1. Saunders drifting through turn 1, almost lost the back end on the sausage curb. Sippy's going to try and look to the inside, but can't get it done.
No, and
look at this. Sippy looks like he's lost the back end of the car. Trying to get the power down. That's going to move Saunders up into third, and here comes Casey G to the inside of Dan Thompson.
To the lead.
And Casey's going to try and run him wider. Look at this. Saunders is going to try and get the 2-for-1 deal. Oh, but he lost the back end. He makes contact, and Saunders is into the wall. And yellow flag sector 2, Saunders trying to get that power down and get the 2-for-1 deal. Lost the back end, makes contact with the Williams of Dan Thompson and Casey G in the Alfa Romeo. And now the virtual safety car is out. And look at this, David Wallbank has managed to work his way back into third, even though the game, quote-unquote, pitted him a second time for a fresh set of mediums. So Wallbank back up into this battle for the top spot. And Harry Saunders has officially left the session. I'm going to chalk that up to a rage quit. And that is really unfortunate. Saunders is having a really good run today. Too bad for him. An impressive debut. And Sippy's got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car. And we're back to green flag racing already. And now Wallbank is looking to make a move already on Dan Thompson as they head down into turn 2. Sippy, meanwhile, makes a move on Epic the Animal. Animal tries to cut back, and now Epic's going to go around the outside, coming out of the turn 2 and 3 complex. And then they're 3 wide, heading down into the hairpin. Look at this, Sippy trying to make a move. And Ben Gallagher, who we haven't talked about a whole lot this race for a long time, looking to make a move and get into the 4th spot. And Epic loses out. He loses 2 spots heading into that. Meanwhile, Casey G pulling out away from Dan Thompson for the top spot. And Dan Thompson has got David Wallbank all over the back of him. Epic the Animal picks up a 3-second time penalty. And there's a lot of shuffling going on in the back here. 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Looks like Chaz Meister's had a little bit of an off and drops through the field. And Wallbank still trying to find a way around Dan Thompson. And Thompson's been able to gap Wallbank just a little bit. But as these two have been battling it out, Casey G's been able to pull out to almost the second lead as he runs the fastest lap of the race, a 1:17.283. That's way faster in comparison to what they were running under the full wet conditions. About 13, 14, 15 seconds faster. TC13 picks up a 3-second time penalty. He's currently running in the 8th spot, but that would drop him back to about 11th or 12th if the race ended right now. Maxi16 is now looking to try and make a move on Epic the Animal. And judging by the conditions, it looks like the DRS slot is open on Maxi's car, so DRS is enabled. And Maxi to the inside of Epic. Can he get it done? No, they're side by side coming out of the corner. But look at this. Maxi16 dives to the inside and he's going to take the 6th spot away from Epic the Animal.
That's a very good move. Just realised that my mic on mute for the last couple of laps, which doesn't help. But, yeah.
Sorry, if that happened, I wasn't trying to talk over you. I thought you stepped away again. And he may have gone mute again. So pick up David Wallbank. Wallbank is still trying to find a way around Dan Thompson, but Dan Thompson's been able to gap him by a few car lengths now. So 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. It looks like Sippy's dived into the pits. And Maxi's got a 3-second time penalty. So Sippy, who's been up and down in the running order all day, back into the pits. Looks like he's serving his drive-through penalty. So that's going to move Ben Gallagher into the 4th spot. Gallagher is trying to hold off Maxi running in 5th. And Maxi's going to have the DRS slot open. Gallagher is a sitting duck. And to the inside, look at this Maxi with the DRS and the softer tires is easily going to be able to get past. Gallagher's going to try and go to the inside, but he's not going to be able to make the move, and a great move there by Maxi.
Meanwhile, Dan is catching up to KCG. Gaps within 2/10.
2/10 of a second, we picked that battle up. KCG, who ran the fastest lap a couple laps ago, looks like he's lost some time now. Dan Thompson all over the back of him.
There should be events in the last couple of laps. Will Senna get involved, you never know. Can't even count out Max either. In the Toro Rosso, he's driven a very good race after his jump start. But Dan surely now to take this opportunity in the next couple of laps. As he sets a fast lap of the Grand Prix of 14.5.
And that's about 3 seconds faster than the fastest lap set by KCG a couple laps ago, so the track is really getting dried up now. Looks like the racing line is going to be getting rubbered in a little bit, so traction is going to be at a premium here as this race winds down.
Yeah, I think it's overcast conditions now for the last 2 remaining laps.
Dan Thompson's got the DRS slot open. He's going side by side with KCG as they head down in the hairpin, and he makes the move.
Done before the hairpin. That's very impressive from the Williams. Will KCG fight back? I don't think he will for now. As Ben Gallagher moves up to P5, but it's Epic and him having an almighty ding-dong. As will Epic. Noble will have to yield for now, but he'll have a look at him going into the next part, surely.
Meanwhile, Maxi 16 was able to get away from this battle and checked out. He's in the 4th spot, and Ben Gallagher just picked up another 3-second time penalty, and Epic just cut through the grass trying to hold on to that spot. And we got a 3-car battle here. This is 5th, 6th, and 7th. That's Ben Gallagher, Epic the Animal, and TC13. And not only is this an impressive battle on track, but this is also a battle of time penalties. I'm pretty sure all 3 of these drivers have multiple time penalties at this point. So the finishing order could definitely get shuffled.
Ben Gallagher's got 4, Epic's got 1, and TC's got 4.
So Ben Gallagher, unfortunately, even if he finished in the 5th spot, and he gets rear-ended there by Epic the Animal, and Epic now's got wing damage. He got a little bit of the chrome horn to the bumper. I think Epic tried going in a little too deep. He's going to have the DRS slot open.
Still have a look at him. Let's do the outside line this time for the hairpin. And obviously not give up this cause, even with the time penalties. Runs a little bit wide there, Epic. Now if he's got pushed.
And Epic, he comes back across and he's making contact with him, and they're rubbing wheels. And Epic, I think, is...
Ooh!
Epic saves the car!
Epic somehow saved the car. But, yeah, it was very interesting in those two.
I got a feeling Epic is starting to show his displeasure with Ben Gallagher, and rightfully so, because if Epic knows what we know, Gallagher's got, 4 3-second time penalties. He's got 12 seconds worth of penalties. He's really battling it out for no reason. And Maxi...
Max has lost it.
Oh, Maxi was running in the 4th spot. He was having such a good race. And around goes one of the... Oh, no, we've got one of the racing points, a Haas. What is going on back here? Maxi's diving into the pits.
TC Max might be putting on another set of softs for him to the end of the race. Meanwhile, up in the scrap for lead, KCG is looking for a move on Dan, going into the hairpin on lap 30. Looks like he'll get the move done. Dan's going to go for the switchback. This is going to be very interesting to see who comes out on top. I think Senna won't win this Grand Prix now, obviously with the time penalty.
And KCG retakes the lead.
But the Alpha has got the move done.
There's a lot of shuffling going on in the back with that whole sequence. I don't know if that was try and catch that got called out, was trying to get into the pits. Maxi obviously dived into the pits after picking up some damage. Ben Gallagher's losing another spot. This is Epic and Ben battling it out once again. These two have not been too nice to each other the past couple laps.
Yeah, and Ben looks like to be in front for now.
And again, Ben with 12 seconds worth of penalties.
As well as Capricorn, who started the race in P20, he's done extremely well to get up to P6. It's a very quiet race. Obviously one of the first people went on the wets, and I think he's one of the first people went into the dry tyres as well, as Max picks up a 3-second time penalty down in P12.
Maxi's race is falling apart at this point.
Hello, Harry. Will Dan have a look at KCG? The gap is not... next to nothing. Dan goes down the inside.
And once again, they swap positions again. And a yellow flag in Sector 1.
Out. And for the lead for now. Yeah, 2.5 tenths. Will KCG have a look? I don't think it's no nice idea to go for that move down that corner. So Dan leads. But I think these two will be scrapping until the very end of this Grand Prix. None of them have a penalty. Which
and KAMIKAZE has just left the session.
And unfortunately for KAMIKAZE,
and his car is currently 6th. It's AI, so he's got internet issues. He, as you just stated a second ago, he started 20th, worked his way up to 6th spot, and now he's going AI. That's unfortunate for him.
KCG's trying everything to try and get past Dan. Is that lap 32 or 34? As KAMIKAZE has rejoined, which is good news.
And here we go, KCG down into turn 2.
He needs a good exit here. Both drivers need a good exit, but KCG wants an even better one if he wants to be in the lead.
KCG's got that DRS slot open, and he's very close. That's going to be able to make a move very early on Dan Thompson, heading down into the hairpin.
And there's the lapped ghost car of Harry Saunders.
And KAMIKAZE left the session again.
Contact between the top two there, I think. Dan wanted the switchback, but KCG wasn't letting him. But Dan's still going to get the move done surely now as they go into the little kink, as they're going into the next little corner. And KAMIKAZE joined again for
KAMIKAZE is struggling with his internet, trying to regain control of that car as the race winds down, as things are heating up big time. So Dan Thompson trying to hold off KCG. And LR Harry, that's Harry Cooper's retired from the session. Harry Cooper, who had a good race earlier on in this session, done for the day.
Very good qualifying session, but he hasn't lived it up. Well, both Harrys haven't lived it up in the Grand Prix. A rage quit in the DNF.
And that is Harry Saunders' Ferrari that they just drove through that's going AI. Harry Saunders looks like he might have had a bit of rage quit, retired from the session.
Well, what can KCG do here? Can he catch up to him? Dan's moved defensively here, but I don't think it will matter.
DRS slot's going to be open, and here comes KCG to the inside.
They're going to look down his inside.
Oh, and once again, they're going to swap spots, maybe.
No, they will not.
Dan Thompson gets the power back down.
Very good move from Dan.
And J-Boy123 is on the live chat, says the game messed up his race. I'm not 100% sure which driver that is. But one of the 5 DNFs that we've had, Harry Cooper, AB53 Mo, Rita, Sloppy G, Feared by Gaming, and Fozzie Wazzie all crashed out in this race or retired.
We're about to start the last lap of this in German Grand Prix, and we still don't know who's going to win the Grand Prix yet. Will it be Dan, or will it be the Alpha of KCG? Again, the
here we go, white flag lap. And J-Boy123 is Rita, and I do imagine that the game did mess up your race. I don't think you wanted to switch over to softs when you did. Anyways, final lap of this race. Dan Thompson trying to hold off KCG. KCG hard on the brakes heading into turn 2. They come out of 3. KCG's going to have the DRS advantage, and he's very close to Dan Thompson. There's not going to be much Thompson can do to try and keep KCG from taking that spot.
I think Dan will have to go again. Around the outside, maybe the hairpin.
The only thing Thompson can do is try to get it back in the 3/4 of this lap. It's Charlie Meister. Chaz Meister, Charlie Sampson, 10 seconds. And they're side by side. Thompson to the outside, which will become the inside. KCG's going to try and push him wide. And he gets it done to the inside. Power move by Dan Thompson. Oh, no!
Oh!
KCG makes contact with him, and that is really unfortunate.
That's very unfortunate for Dan.
That moves David Wallbank up into the 2nd spot.
And KCG might have just stolen the victory from Dan's grasp there with a little bit of contact as he comes on the final corner to take a win.
KCG is going to come across the line first. David Wallbank comes across second. Dan Thompson luckily will be finishing in the 3rd spot. That might get a review at the end of this race. And he does get put into 2nd. So Epic the Animal is going to be credited with the 4th spot. Ben Gallagher is going to drop through the field with all of his time penalties. Sippy is 5th. You see this train of cars. Carbon Con is 6th. Ben Gallagher is 7th.
Try and catch.
Try and Catch is going to come across in the 8th spot. Maxi 16. He's got wing damage. Maxi's he's had a rough day for sure. Up and down the running order, penalties all around. Comes across 9th. Gad is going to get credited with 9th. TC 13.
There's a very interesting incident there. KCG might say that Dan didn't give him enough room. It would look like on my, from what I could see, it looked like KCG tried to rejoin the track and Dan was holding his line and KCG just tried to rejoin, hit Dan. That was all.
Charlie Sampson finally comes across the line to finish out this race 13th. So the stewards may or may not have a look at that at the end. So for now, KCG coming across the line in first. Dan Thompson, I'm sure, will have some choice words about the situation. Luckily, it did not end his race.
If that ended Dan's race, I know Dan wouldn't have been very happy with that. He still won't be happy with P2. You'll have to have a look at that. I think it's just you'll have to have a look at that and show about that, because that's not the action we wanted to see at the last lap of the Grand Prix, especially after such a good scrap between those two over the last few laps. But
so here are your unofficial results. KCG gets the win, and Dan Thompson will be in second spot. Art and Senna, that's David Wallbank, it's third. Epic the Animal manages to work his way into fourth. Sippy is fifth. Carbon Con, who is sixth, starting in the 20th spot. Great drive from him. Ben Gallagher is seventh. Try and Catch eighth. Gad is 9th, Maxi 16, credited with 10. That is your top 10 points paying positions. TC 13 is 11th. ASDF Kimmy is 12th. Charlie Sampson 13th. Harry Saunders 14th. And then 15th through 20th is all DNFs. That's Harry Cooper, AB53 Mo, Rita, Sloppy G, Feared by Gaming, and Fozzie Wazzie, rounding out your 20 drivers for today's race. So pretty impressive race, a very chaotic ending. What do you say? That was quite the fiasco there at the end. I would hate to be a steward heading into this session.
I did to beat Dan right now. I'm in the.
And that's, despite finishing in second spot, that's 2 weeks in a row that Dan has caught the short end of a stick. Here at HTA RL. Obviously, he had an issue, collision in round 3 at Spa, and rage quit. Today, he leading the race, gets a little bit of help from KCG getting turned. But all in all, a very impressive race. Hockenheim, not one of my favorite tracks, but so far hasn't seemed to disappoint in the virtual world. So,
yeah, I enjoyed that. Very good race. Bit of a chaotic ending, but we should all go again next week.
Absolutely, and next week will be round 5 at Australia, where Formula One should have kicked off a few weeks ago, but unfortunately with the pandemic around the world, this is what we're stuck with, is virtual racing. So guys, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment to the YouTube channel. Be sure to check out HTA RL Elite Races as well, where you can race with the big boys with no assists. This has been the HTA RL Assists League in round 4 here at Hockenheim. So guys, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Check us out next week at Australia, and we'll see everybody at the next round.